Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would love to introduce myself. My name is Sulthan Asla Razan. I'm from TBIG Class B, and my ID student number is 20524046. Here I will tell you a story from the broadcast program I have listened. I listened from YouTube channel named The Best Old Times Radio Shows. And the broadcasting program I listened to is from Dangerously Yours program, Dangerously Yours playlist in their channel YouTube. Here I will tell you the story from the fifth episode, the episode titled God's Country and the One Man. So the reason I chose this broadcast is because for me, classical theater or classical drama are always interesting. Moreover, the broadcast from Dangerously Yours program is used to using poetic words, which I love poetic words. And the third reason is this broadcast used an old American accent. An old American accent is the accent I have been longing to master. Because for me, it's so edgy to use old American accent. Moreover, the broadcast also have classical music for the soundtrack, which I love classical music so much. And before I listen, I read the transcript, I looked for unfamiliar words, I predicted how storyline would be. While listening, I was listening with reading the transcript, and I also pay close attention because sometimes there's errors in transcript that I had read before. And we would be noticed that there's error if we listen it focusedly. After I listened to the broadcast, I made a summary that I will tell you about. This broadcast tells the story of a man named Philip Wayman, and woman named Josephine Adair. They met unexpectedly. When they first met, Josephine appeared very sad. Philip offered to help her. Josephine revealed that the way Philip could help was by pretending to be her husband for 1 month. She also warned him she also warned him that after that month they would never see each other again. Josephine asked Philip to agree without asking any question or protesting. However, she also said he was completely fine if he couldn't help her, knowing how difficult it would be. Philip agreed to help her in front of Josephine's parents, her father John Adair, and her stepmother Miriam. Philip pretended to be Josephine's husband. And also the father of 2-year-old boy was introduced as Josephine's son. One night, Philip was shot in the arm by an unknown man who escaped immediately after the attack. Philip was furious and wanted to find out the truth. Philip cursed about who the real parents of the boy were and who tried to kill him. He suspected that the man who shot him must be the boy's father. Eventually, it was revealed that Miriam was the boy's mother, and the father was Thoreau, the same man who had shot Philip. John Adair, Josephine's father, knew nothing about the secret. For two reasons, Josephine was being forced to marry Thoreau. Philip, unable to suppress his rebellious nature, he decided to gather a group of men to confront the situation. They engaged in a fight, but were outnumbered and started to lose. However, in the end, Josephine was freed and Philip proposed to her. An offer she gladly accepted. And how this content related to my daily life? First one is the accent they use. I learned American accent, especially an old American accent, and using it every time I'm speaking. The second one is the verbs. I might know the verbs that seldom to use. I might be able to describe something critically. And with this broadcast, I could be better to fit the intonation, stress, rhythm, counter, and everything else in acting. I could be able to know and then practice, for example, to practice being angry in acting. From this broadcast, I could notice easier the different sounds that coming from several expressions. Because from this such of broadcast, I'm being used to hear. How does it sound like when people happy? How does it sound like when people angry as well? And that's also how broadcasting start from this source. The best of times radio shows have my extensive listening. The problems I often face in extensive listening, especially when I do extensive listening with this source, is in those dramas sometimes there's a character which is not native speaker. For example, in this episode titled God's Country and Woman, there's friends. Of course, Friends speak with accent that is so hard for me to listen. But I overcome this with reading the transcript and repeated the part. Another problem I get is sometimes the quality of the audio broken, knowing this broadcast or these radio shows had recorded in 1940s decade. For example, in some episode like this.
And every time to tell you I have a life with you and hair and alcohol. No, it's not a good time. Then I'm a good night.
That's all that I can say. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.